Friday Night Funkin, which has started off as a simple rhythm game for a game jam, has quickly developed into a massive modding community that modifies the game by giving it a whole lot of new expansions to add so much more content than even the base game has. And obviously mods for Friday Night Funkin take a lot of time and effort to make, with almost every big FNF mod having a massive team of talented developers, with countless months being poured into development to make the mod as perfect as possible. So I'll be trying to make an FNF mod in under 3 hours completely by myself. Let's begin. So for those who are unfamiliar with how an FNF mod is made, let me break it down for you. There are 4 main parts to making an FNF mod: the art and animation. So that's things like opponent sprites, the background and UI elements. The music, probably the most important step, which is the music in which the players will be listening and playing with. The charting, which is placing the notes in an editor to make the music playable to the player. And finally the coding, which is taking all those steps and actually putting them in together to make something that is tangible and playable. And that's the main 4 parts of making an FNF mod, which I'll have to do all by myself under 3 hour time limit. Well, it's time to begin, starting off with the... Now we're already off to a rocky start, since I'm not very good at art or animation, let alone doing it in such a time constraint. But I thought it was best to get the hard part out of the way first. So I decided to focus on the sprites first for our guy that we're gonna rap against. And I wanted to go for something clock or time related since, you know, this whole challenge is based on a time limit. So I made a quick little sketch of a sentient clock guy. Now that the sketch is done, it's time to jump straight into making the sprites. I tried to make the sprites into a clean outline from the sketch, but after a while I realized there was no way I could do that with the time I have. So the sprite lines work is just gonna have to be messy for the sake of time. After the line work is finished, I started to color and shade the sprites. And boom, we're done with the character model. Now it's time to actually make the poses and animate them. Now Krita actually has an animation system built into itself, which you think is really convenient that the app I use to draw can also be used to animate. The problem is that I've never actually used the animation system, and with almost half an hour being used up just for one drawing, there was no way I could learn how to use an entire animation system in time for the other parts. So I had no choice but to go into barbaric dumb caveman mode and manually animate the sprites. And yeah, I know it's kind of dumb to manually animate sprites when there's literally an entire animation system in front of me, but I pushed on through as I really just wanted to get this part over with. Plus I like a little bit of animating. Something about squash and stench, whatever that means. So I animated the body parts of the clock guy to give him some poses. I also changed the mouth, eyes, and the arm for some poses just so the sprites aren't too stale. After that, I exported the PNGs of the poses and put them through a website that automatically packs FNF sprites into a sprite sheet, just to make the exporting process easier and faster, which totally won't come into haunt me later. I also managed to finally get a look at the animation in action, and yep, that's definitely animated alright. And with that, I split the timer with 53 minutes on art and animation. I was very excited to finally move on from the art part of the mod and move to making the music. There was just one problem I realized before I started to work on the next section. I forgot to make the background. I have no idea how the hell I forgot to draw the part of an FNF mod that stops the characters from just rapping the endless void. But I knew I couldn't move on without making the backgrounds. So I sadly undid the split and went back to Krita. I already used up more than 1/3 of my time, so I had to make a very simple background. But I still wanted to make a background that was clock related, so I thought of some clock related stuff and drew them in, such as a little alarm clock and a grand clock. After finishing the background and exporting it, I ended off the art and animation at 1 hour and 13 minutes. And now I could finally move on to the... So with already more than 1 hour used up just for art and animation, I had to log in for the music part of this mod. So I opened up FL Studio and got straight to work. I started off with the bass, which according to some comments on the latest video is actually called bass, or as in the bass instrument of the song, and not as in the damn fish, which makes more sense now that I think about it. But fortunately, I don't think very often, so I'll still be calling it bass. Anyways, after the bass was done, I'll move on to the chords and make some painfully simple rising chords. Then I threw in a piano just so the song didn't sound too stale. After that, I wanted to add an instrument that sounded like a clock or a tick to keep up with the theme of time, so I added a wood block and a mallet to the background of the song. Then I slapped some kicks, snares, hi-hats, crashes, risers, all that good stuff, and I was finished with the song. Or at least like 17 seconds of it. So I started focusing on extending the song to be a playable length for the mod. I got kind of cheap with the instrumental and had a bunch of sections and parts repeated, but with the clock nearing to another hour, I didn't really have a choice. I added a slow segment where the characters do a little duet to spice up the song at least. And with the instrumental being finished, I move on to the vocals of the song. For the pointed vocals, I tried looking for something clock sounding in my sound fonts, but I couldn't find anything. And I definitely didn't have the time to go through all my sound fonts looking for a clock sound font. So I just took some clock sound effect from YouTube and slapped onto SlideFX. Then for actually making the vocals at the start, I tried to make the vocals pair up with the song, but after a while I realized I was nearing the 2-hour mark of the challenge. And I still wasn't done yet, so I just slapped on some notes without really thinking about it and repeated a lot of the vocal tracks. Seems kinda lazy, but hey, it got me to finish making music for the mod in like 55 minutes. I exported the instrumental, and since my PC really doesn't like exporting stuff in FL Studio, I thought it was fair to pause the timer until they're done exporting. Big mistake. The timer broke when I tried to unpause it, so I had to reset it and put it back to the original time manually. And with that road bump out of the way, we can move on to the... So after the song was finished exporting, I threw in the vocals and instrumental into Psych Engine and got straight into the chart editor to get to work. Now the charting part of the mod should be the easiest, and it kinda was. It honestly just felt kinda mind-numbing to hear the same damn vocal patterns repeat and having to copy and paste the notes and all that. I eventually finished the chart and it played fine. There was a couple charting errors, but nothing too crazy to go back and try to fix. So I got the charting done in like 20 minutes, which you think would be good since it's the shortest part of the mod completed this far. But then I realized I only have half an hour left for the... With only one part left, I started off with adding in the character sprite to the game. And oh boy, it was an absolute disaster. No matter what I tried, the character sprites would either not load in or just straight up crash the game. After a few tries, I tried to edit the XML, but it was to no avail, as the game still crashed whenever I tried to load in the sprite. I was starting to panic as I was starting to get close to the 3-hour mark without any of the asks coded in. So I had no choice but to think of an old XML sprite sheet generator I found on Game Banana a long time ago and dump the sprites into the generator. Fortunately, the sprites finally managed to show up into the game, and after adjusting the position of the poses, I have Clock Guy in the game. The next part was adding in the stage, so I coded in the background images and adjusted the character positions. Next, I added a little camera event to the start and coded in some flashes that would play in some parts of the song. Now, before I was finished, I realized I didn't have an icon for a Clock Guy. I hastily drew an icon for him, and finally finished with coding the song into the game. In total, I had 5 minutes left to spare. Safe to say I was really close to passing the 3-hour mark, but I managed to do it. I made an FNF mod on 3 hours completely by myself. Now after all that, it's time to showcase the final product.
3, 2, 1, go!
I'll upload the song's OST on my second channel with the mod download in case you want to play the mod yourself. For those who are curious, here's how long each part took to make. And that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe since I'm trying to hit 20k subs. And turn on notifications to be the first to see any new uploads. Make sure to comment down below what other types of video ideas you want to see from me since I'm still pretty new to all this and any ideas are appreciated. Well, see ya.